Every bass music producer wants to see that stank phase of approval. It comes down to the groove and not so secret ingredient which can make or break your track. That's why you see dozens of plugins promising you godly results, but let's leave yet another iteration of old dusty console or a basic saturator in a fancy skin, and let me show you why Ableton Live stock tools and some cheap Max for Live devices are a much better option. But first, let me bypass everything I used here and show you what I mean. If you're totally new to this, then don't worry, I won't go into technical details regarding curves, even or odd harmonics. Instead, just to ease the process, there are two main ways to drive the signal. First is simply driving enough to reduce dynamics and add loudness straight into clipping. Second, which I make heavy use of here, is to add character or even completely change the sound. Now you may think the simplest way is to add this bad boy here. But there is a simpler option with more creative room thanks to new Live 12.2 update. Yeah, you saw that right, it's a basic auto filter, but if you grab something like a comp curve, for example, change the frequency a bit, it already gives us a little bit of character. And now we can introduce a little bit of drive. By the way, I think this frequency knob literally screams for automation. You can also clip new auto filter by adding some level before, which, as I said, makes a cool alternative for a basic saturator. But don't get me wrong though, saturator is pretty damn fine. I actually made a video and a free rack a while ago, which turns it into a simple clipper. Here in this new version, you also have some options to control the tone, which once again scream for automation, by the way. But I think Ableton missed a huge opportunity with the default wave shaper. I mean, it works, but shaping part is very limited, and in fact, for some, it might be a little bit confusing. Luckily, there is a cool and an amazing Max for Live alternative to this, but before I show it to you, let's quickly touch upon Roar. I think this masterpiece needs no introduction. Me and your other but less favorite Ableton YouTube creators already did a bunch of cool videos about it. So instead, let me spark a few ideas for you. You can use it as a multi-band finishing touch, like I did here. To be completely fair with you, I chose those shapers randomly, but if I need to point out something, then full wave rectifier and half wave rectifier are your best friends for making some disrespectful sounds. Next, you can use it as a cool kilohertz disperser alternative with this new filter. So that's without and with. As you can see, I use this dispersion filter here, then automated dry and wet parameter to increase slowly at the end of the sound, and if I remember correctly, I also mapped the envelope to the resonance, so that's without and with. Next, the almighty feedback mode, just to add a little bit of metallic touch. And I was too lazy to set it to the proper milliseconds value, which is a shame since now it also works with MIDI in, but I think for the purpose of creating a cool accent, it's enough. And finally, there is this cool new mode for adding a bit of feedback delay, so I can actually use it on vocals, just to make it clear for you. Let's set it up properly, so now it's at 50-50 blend. Let's just put time to something synced, like for example 1/4. And then change the delay shaper to something like a diode clipper, and then increase the amount. As you can see, basic stuff already gives you plenty of options. There is a chance to unlock the next level wizardry of saturation by pressing like and subscribe button. Don't worry, take your time, I'll wait, but if you ask me, if you made it this far to the video, it's very rude to not press those buttons. Done? Then here we go. The real magic of wave shaping can be done with this device called, surprise surprise, BS Wave Shaper. But it's not a bullshit, since watch this. Just like with classic wave shapers, you can draw your own curve. But also change it from asymmetric to symmetric. Fucking disgusting, bro. But you don't only have one curve. You can actually switch to B, which can be totally different. So let's put this on asymmetric mode. And make something simpler. Now you can choose between one or the other, or mix between them. But this all looks like an elementary school tricks compared to... Now, don't even get me started on spectral distortion. Especially since I have no scientific knowledge about it. But you don't have to as well, since this click if you were dumbass button works just perfectly fine. And that is what I was actually looking for. Just a little bit of dry and wet. Maybe drive it a little bit more as well. But if you want to know more about the spectral distortion device, there are some hints in info box once you hover over the parameters. Unfortunately, my info box is under this millimeters window, which I get more questions about than my all Ableton Live tips combined. An honorable mention goes to Multiband Saturator by GM Audio, and some may argue that it makes no sense to have this device since RAW also have multiband mode, but let me tell you something, it's not only multiband but also mid-side. So in fact I can drive the mid image, maybe add a little bit more to the highs, introduce some asymmetric distortion, and then switch to sides, maybe use the solo button and drive the sides even more. Then blend it a little bit. And yeah, the downside is that it doesn't have any crossover points you can set on your own manually, but to be fair with you, it sounds so clean and precise that it makes no sense to sleep on it, especially if you have a chance to support. But don't get me wrong though, there are many great plugins, like for example Minimal Audio Rift, the Vote engine inside, Beam by Lunacy Audio, and the most controversial plugin of last year I believe, Trash 2. If you already pulled a trigger on them, they can be quite disrespectful. But if you want to know more about some free or very cheap alternatives to third-party plugins, then you're gonna love this video.